Hello YouTube, welcome back. Glad to have you back. Today we're going to talk about the PPS-43 submachine gun, one of my favorite surplus submachine gun, military base submachine gun. It's been a while since we've done a surplus video. We've been talking about modern guns lately. But before we get into it, if you're not a subscriber, please consider to subscribe. If you enjoy the content, give us a like. If you're a subscriber and you would like to help me buy ammunition or get additional cool guns, firearms such as this one, consider joining the Patreon account and signing up for our patronage through Patreon. There are several tiers and I just set it up a few weeks ago, so help me grow the channel, and I'm looking forward to your support. Started. So the PPS-43 light submachine gun. Okay. It's unloaded, no magazine in the gun, no bullets, so fire safety check. One of my favorite older submachine gun or pistol. So this is a Soviet firearm that was designed in 1942 era and produced between 1942 and 1960. It was produced as a replacement for the PPS-41, which was a heavier, longer, with a wooden stock and a lot of more wooden parts submachine gun. It was a great fire rifle. However, because of the size and the weight and the length, the Russian wanted something a little more compact and more easier to produce and cheaper to produce. So back in the 1942, I believe, 1941, 1942, the designer, one of the designer of this firearm, Alexis Sodayev, was tasked, along with other folks, I believe there were 3 or 4 of them, were tasked to come up with a revised version of the successor rifle of a PPS-43, PPS-41, something that would be light, submachine gun, and that will fire the same cartridge, in this case the 7.62x25 Tokarev round, which is a pistol round that's very fast, a lot of power, projectile, armor piercing. We will have a video on this caliber because I kind of have a few guns of this caliber. So the 7.62x25 is the same bullet and the M57 Tokarev fires, which we've done a video on this one. They use the same cartridge. So where was I? So the Russian wanted to have a rifle submachine gun that was faster to produce. There were a few restrictions and conditions that were given to the designer, if I recall. So I did a bit of research, but I'm not a historian. But if I recall, they were tasked to have something that can be done in half the time, specifically no more than 3 to 3.5 hours of production. And they want to limit the waste of the metal to 30 to 40% maximum. They wanted to have something that was light and shorter. And I think the other condition was something has to be done with cheap on the cheap side, so very low cost of production. And for that they had to use a hot rolled sheet steel stamped metal. So most of this gun is just a roll of steel sheets of steel, metal stamping. There's bend metal here and there, bend it. It was really easier to produce, cheaper compared to the PPS-41. And the I believe in 2.7 hours they were able to produce this rifle. Weight wise, It's also lighter than the PPS-41. This is about 7 pounds, 6 point some change pounds, or 3 kilograms, which is perhaps almost half the weight of the PPS-41, which is around 14 pounds or 15 pounds, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have a PPS-41 yet, but lighter weight than the PPS-41. So SMG PPS-43. Why do I like this one? So this is a pistol format. This is how you buy it. It was deployed usually with a sling and cleaning tool, a cleaning rod and a bottle of oil. That's how these were issued back in 1942. It was mostly it was heavily used during the World War II by the Russian, and then several countries adopted after that, all the way to the 60s and longer. So a lot of African, Asian, Soviet allied countries are using the PPS-43. So from the front to the back, interesting muzzle brake. If you look at the muzzle brake, it's just a piece of metal that's folded to push out the gases to the sides, and it's effective. It helps with the recoil management a lot. So if you're looking at the design, it's just curved piece of metal, steel, so pushing the gas to the side. Same thing from the side. The front side is just a piece of metal that's curved with an opening. It's got a front post similar to, a little bit similar to what you see in the front AK, but it has this protective piece of metal. Same thing, handguard, another sheet of steel folded with some rivets to protect your hand. The entire firearm is really just meant of sheets of metal. So zoom on the rifle. The PPS-43, so all metal steel let's see if I can say steel sheets of metal several times, all steel with some rubber plastic grips. The mechanism, this is a blowback operated firearm that fires on the open bolt position. It's a cylindric bolt. The charging handle is reciprocating, so as you fire, it moves with the bolt, and it's part of the bolt actually. It's integrally built with the bolt. The major need was having a submachine gun that the vehicle crews, troopers, and other infantrymen could carry without having to worry about the size and the length of the firearm. So this is quite a compact firearm, compact pistol. It comes, when you buy it today, you will get something like this, which is a pistol configuration. Legally, because of the short length, it's a pistol. If you were to have the stock deployed, it'd be considered a short barrel rifle. You don't change the zoom so much. So with this one, after I receive it, actually let's continue. So I digress. Rear side, typical, nothing fancy, just to cut off piece. There's a notch on the rear for the rear side, and the fronts are adjustable using a tool. I must say, and these are, the rear side has two positions. One for close engagement, I believe one for 200 longer distance. So once 10 and 20 are marks in the rear side. Let's see if we open it. If I remember, you open, you just press the rear there, and then you lift. So again, to open, just press this retention plate and you lift it. Very simple on the inside. Trigger. Here's the bolt. You can lift up with the spring, but I don't want to make a big mess there. Let's see. There you go. Move this to the side. As you can see, very easy to strip already and very easy. So a cylindrical bolt with an integrated charging handle. So as you fire the action, this moves with the rifle. One of the design, so there were, of course, this is PPS-43. It was a replacement for PPS-41. That means in between you had a couple of variants, such as the PPS-42, which was released, designed and released, and they made some further improvements. So the PPS-42 had a wooden stock, still had some wood components. The safety mechanism was not as good as this one, and they also wanted to reduce, they wanted to improve the muzzle brake. So the PPS-43 came out with those improvements. A better safety mechanism on this rifle. The safety mechanism is this bar right here. When you push it forward, safety releases. When you pull it, its safety is engaged and it blocks the trigger and the bolt at the same time. They are deactivated. So there's an improvement on the safety mechanism from the PPS-42 to the PPS-43. Safety mechanism, they shortened the barrel and they shortened the stock to make this a little more compact. They also added a larger spring guide rod. So the spring guide rod was a little thinner than this one. They made it larger and they redesigned it a little bit. So let's see if you can put it back the same way, just easily. Stick it there. Okay, to close it, just push it. Press it again and let it go. There you go. So the PPS-43 is a submachine gun. So this one was a pistol, and after I filed my form with the ATF, I was able to convert it into a short barrel rifle. And now, working with a gunsmith, when you get it, when you buy, if you were to buy one today as a pistol, the foldable stock is pin welded to its folded position, so you cannot use the stock. But now that mine is converted, I now have a proper SBR or submachine gun. Of course, this is not full automatic, so it's not really a submachine gun because it's not full auto, but the stock is usable as it was meant to be, as designed. I really wanted to have this pistol and use it properly, or have it work the way it was intended. I love this foldable stock, and if you fold it back, you just fold the inside in, press the detent pin here, lift it, and it rests right there. So I had to wait a couple of months to do the form, and actually no, it took about maybe less than a month. I was fortunate. But then I had to spend some money to have the conversion done to have the stock released and welded and install a spring and all that stuff. So, but this is how you usually operate the PPS-43 in a rifle configuration. The PPS-43 has a curved magazine. Again, another steel sheet built, just folded sheet of metal with a rail. The design is quite simple. 35 round magazine, curved, and you insert it just like this. There were no forward grip on the PPS-43, primarily because I believe through the training, the guidance it was to hold the firearm by the magazine well, just like that. That 7.62 cartridge and the length and the build of the PPS-43 makes it very easy to shoot. Although it's a powerful round, the rifle shoots quite flat. It shoots I've used this comparison before, but it's just for me it's just like a train on rail. It's the recoil is very well managed, so the rifle doesn't, the muzzle doesn't go up and down too much, rather stays quite flat, and you can go back into target, go back on sight quite easily. So as you fire, it's really it's very controllable. It just tends to move a little bit front to back versus all over the place. Now in full automatic mode, the troops were advised not to fire full burst continuously, right? So in order to make your shots count a little bit better. The magazine release is really just 2 pieces of metal cut just like that, right here. You just press it and pull out. So you pull it out. I don't know if I can zoom into here, but even the mag release is very simple. There's 2 cuts of 2 bars metal cut. Oops, sorry. Here. Goodness, sir. I mean, very good. I think this is a good collectible because it's I like submachine guns. Compact, very light compared to the predecessor. It's still quite long, but for being a rifle, for being a submachine gun that has the 7.62x25, which is a powerful cartridge, I believe it's still quite compact, it's still quite short. What else? Price wise, I think this was in the $450, I believe, before the conversion, which is an additional cost before for the stamp, $200 stamp to the ATF department, which is another cost. But once you do that conversion, of course, you turn this into an SBR with all the requirements of the law. This one is by Pioneer Arms, Radom. This specific one is the Polish version. So PPS-43 manufactured in Poland. Yeah, so typically I believe the PPS-43 back in World War II was issued with 2 magazines, a bottle of oil as I mentioned earlier, and a cleaning rod. This is a loaded magazine. I'm checking the focus here. 35 rounds, and for the sake of the nostalgia, I just got this magazine pouch, 3 mag pouch configuration that I use with it. And what did I do for mine? I just found a little sling that I had somewhere online. I ordered online and I had it sitting here somewhere. I think it gives it a little bit of a original retro look, but according to my book, some of the slings I've seen on the books were black with white tab, but I think this one works quite well. It matches the bag, the magazine pouch. But I've shot it quite a few times, but I haven't shot it lately. I should shoot it again. With all the ammunition shortage and all that, the 7.62x25, I think you can still find it. I tend to I'm not a ammo snob, I'm not a gun snob. I really buy what I like or what interests me. It doesn't matter what the brand is, as long as it's good quality and it works properly very well. So I have a lot of the few cellular and below SNB 7.62x25, but there are several brands that I've used over the time, but I tend to always find these, I think, available. I'll have to make a video on this cartridge, 7.62x25 Tokarev M1930. It's a fast round. I don't have the specs on the velocity, but it's a much faster bullet. The bullet comes much faster than a typical 9mm or 32 or the things that were popular at the time. So these rounds are so fast because of the velocity, they are actually armor piercing. Some level of armor, I should say. Yeah, that covers it up. This is my PPS-43 Radom, Polish Radom version. Submachine gun or pistol, which fire 7.62x25. Again, this is an empty mag. think it's a good little pistol, good platform, definitely a good rifle to collect. So it's one of the mil sub that I have was a reproduction of military rifle anyway. Very easy to use, very accurate. Even before I did this form conversion, when I was going to the range, I was shooting it in a pistol configuration, and I did not even have a sling. As long as I kept my posture and my arms tight, I was able to stay on target even without having a stock. Now that I have a stock that I can deploy and use, it's even much more accurate. Very cool rifle, PPS-43. Hope you enjoy it. If you're still watching, remember to like the video, consider subscribing, give us a thumb, subscribe to the channel, help me grow the channel. I'm so close to getting to 600 members. The goal will be 1,000 subscribers, and after 1,000, 5,000, and after 5, 10, and after 10, taking over the world. But appreciate your support. Check out my Patreon page, check out my Instagram account. I'm gonna put the link on the description of the video on this video. So we're on Facebook, Instagram, and Patreon, and those are primarily the platform I try to post on. I don't have a Twitter account for this thing. It's not a lot of time in the day for me yet. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, and take care. Stay frosty. Talk to you soon.